Welcome to Loving God and Loving Life. We're in Luke chapter 1. We get to go through the Gospel of Luke. I just love this gospel, love opening up a new book. We're here in chapter 1 where the theme is Gabriel announcing two births. We think of just the Christmas story, but it's the birth of John the Baptist and of Jesus, and then Mary going and visiting Elizabeth, and then John the Baptist is born. You know, as I read these stories of Gabriel, announcing both to Elizabeth, and then to Mary that they're going to become the mothers of two pretty famous individuals. Just as you read the story, I can't help but think and ask, because both of them find out through the angel that they are favored of God, and especially Elizabeth. I'd say the same for Mary, but Mary's probably 15, 16 years old at this time, and probably a little bit less likely to be discouraged. But Elizabeth has been barren, and the Bible is very clear that she's old. We don't know exactly how old, but by the time John the Baptist's ministry, they're gone. They didn't live that much longer, so they're old. And in that day and age, to be barren, well, you were an outcast, or at least you felt that way for sure. That was just for a woman, and I know it's still painful today, I get it, but in that day and age, that was their entire identity. And well, one verse that we're kind of given a clue of in this verse, if you look at the 25th verse of this chapter, Elizabeth says this after she, gets the news, and after she finds out about this son that she's going to be having. She says, "How kind the Lord is," she exclaimed. "He's taken away my disgrace of having no children." Notice she refers to it as a disgrace. Well, if you feel, you're old now, get the picture, you're old, and you feel like your life this has been a disgrace, there's a good chance that maybe she didn't enjoy her life as much as she could have. I feel like one of my responsibilities as a Bible teacher, we've got to land the bird. We got to land this thing in our lives. And if we're seeing this correctly, the reason that we keep coming back to the Word of God is it's got to bear some fruit in our lives. And I'm telling you, the number one way that it bears fruit is it produces the fruit of joy. In fact, that's what gets announced. The angel announces both to Mary and to Elizabeth that joy and gladness is going to be the result of their sons. It's announced to Elizabeth that John's going to produce, that he will, verse 14 says that you will have great joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth. That's John the Baptist. And then concerning Jesus, Gabriel appeared to Mary and said, "Greetings, favored woman, the Lord is with you." Confused and disturbed, Mary tried to think what the angel had said, and the angel goes and announces that Jesus is going to, bring great joy to all people. Gang, they ended up with joy, but I just wonder what their life had been before. They find out in a moment that they were favored, that God looked on them with favor. Let me ask you, do you feel that way today? Do you feel favored? Friends, if you have faith, if you're here because you're trying to please God today, you're asking Jesus to help you walk with God today, you're favored. Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you're probably like Elizabeth. There might be some things in your life that you feel like is a little bit of a disgrace. But why this is so important is because if you recognize you're favored, if you recognize you are, if you recognize the hand of God in your life, it produces this thing called joy, which I can track this. The more of God's joy I have, the more I'm helping people. Yeah. The more fruitful I am, the more helpful I am. So let's recognize this. If we have faith, it's because we're already favored. We're probably not going to have an angel showing up to tell us that, but let's accept it today. Let's not wait for some angel to announce that. God has announced it through his word. We are favored, and let's feel that favor. Let's allow it to affect even our emotions today. God, thank you for your grace in our life. We are favored. We've got something to share. That's why today, God, send us one person today to share your love with. My friends, never forget that doing God's will and loving God is the only way to love life.